All right, so welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Camila. Usually on my channel, I do hair videos. This video is going to be something slightly different. On one of my previous videos, I was doing like a Q&A and people would ask me why I wear this ring on my finger. Well, not why, but more so if I was engaged or married, and the answer is no. It is a purity ring, and some people seem to be interested to know a little bit more about my, I guess, purity journey. I really don't know what to call it, but that is what this video will be about. Now, I do want to just mention that everybody's path is different. I'm not following like a rule book or a guide. I have my own way of doing things, but I would just, encourage people to keep that in mind. It's not like we're all doing the same thing. Similar goals, but probably different paths. So yes. Another thing that I think is important to keep in mind is I don't know what kind of views or attention this kind of video will receive, but I would just encourage people to be cognizant of the type of comments that they leave. Anything that's like comparing an old car to a new car, which one would you rather have, one that has been used or anything like that, I probably will kind of delete from the comments, just because I feel like that can be inconsiderate to people who may have had their option to choose taken away from them, and I just don't want that kind of energy in my comment section. So if it disappears, that's why. But yeah, so moving right along, I guess, okay, so moving right along, a little bit about me. At the moment, I am 28 years old, and I have never had a boyfriend, never been in a relationship, never dated anybody, never been on a date, never had a texting buddy or anything like that. It has never even been slightly a thing for me. So I have a lot of nevers when it comes to like romantic type of relationships. And I know a lot of times what I get is like, well, why? Or people will say like, well, what's wrong with you? Or may even think that I'm lying. But I personally don't think that there's anything wrong with me. I just feel like everybody goes at their own pace. And for me, at the different stages of my life, it just wasn't really something that I felt was necessary for me, or that I was ready to participate in, if that makes sense. So yes, that is where I'm kind of at the moment, and some of the reactions that I receive. I'm not out there broadcasting it. Well, I guess I kind of am, but I don't like shout it from the mountaintops like, hey, look at me. But it does come up in conversation sometimes. So that is where those reactions come from. Now, as for like my background and upbringing, I know for a lot of people who I've come across who may be on a similar path, they've had it maybe in their upbringing, like their parents, like their household. That was never the case for me. I don't come from a two-parent household. I was raised by a single mother. My dad, he wasn't like there all the time, but he's around. Like, I don't have a bad relationship with my dad. I don't hate him or anything like that. Yeah, there's no beef there at all. With either of my parents, I feel like parents are human. Even if they make mistakes, it is what it is. You gotta move past it. But I don't have any issues with either one of my parents, mother or father. But it was never like in my household. My parents were never married, at least not to each other. Purity wasn't something that was like pushed on me by either parent. They weren't like, hey, wait till marriage, or wait until you find this. It wasn't a discussion like ever. So another common thing that I see for people who may be on a similar path or a similar journey is religion. Like, maybe they had a religious household, or their religion is their why. That's the reason why they feel like this is the best path for them. For me, that's not the case. I grew up raised like in a Lutheran church. My grandparents on my mother's side was raised Lutheran. And my great-grandmother, she went to a Lutheran church. It was like the director of preschool and everything else. So we all went to the preschool at the church. We all would go to that church and help, and with the service and stuff like that. And as we got older, we continued to do so. So I was involved in the church, I would say, but religion isn't the reason why I choose to walk this path or carry myself this way. So that's kind of like what it was while I was growing up. But like, I guess school is also kind of necessary. Now I mentioned elementary because I don't know about y'all elementary, but kids was moving when I was young. Okay, when I was in middle school, I think one of my friends, well, no, I know one of my friends in my friend group, she lost her virginity at 12 years old. So, you know, to me that's pretty darn young, but you know, it is what it is. You can't change anything. And I was just like, when she said it, I was a little shocked because 12 just kind of sounded young to me, even though I was young. I was probably like 13 when she said it, and I was just like, wow. But I also hung around people who didn't do that, or who wasn't as experienced at the time either. So elementary school wasn't really a big thing. It wasn't too crazy, but I mention it because I feel like, you know, some people still had crushes, or they had people who liked them and had their little boyfriends and girlfriends. That wasn't a thing for me. Middle school, it definitely wasn't a thing for me. I was very kind of awkward. I pretty much feel like I look the same. Only thing is that my hair is probably healthier. And I probably have a little bit more confidence about me. But middle school, I was not the first pick. I wasn't anybody that people paid much attention to. I very skinny, bones always showing. It was just a thing. I was not what people would deem attractive, as well as I am of a darker complexion, and I don't know about how everybody feel about it today, but back then that was not cute, that was not sought after. So it was very much, you get picked on for things that you can't help. So I used to be picked on a lot for my skin tone. And yeah, I just wasn't the pick of the litter then. And then high school, I went to a predominantly Asian high school in San Francisco. If you're from here, you can probably figure it out. But they were quite prejudiced there. They would say a lot of things to me based on my race. You know, asked me if I ate fried chicken. I had one teacher, mind you, there's not a lot of black kids at that school. They just really kept me there for a number because it's not like I was doing well academically. But there was one time I was in class and they was asking the teacher why he's wearing all black. And he like looked around the room for me and then just pointed at me and was like, Black History Month. And I was just like, who does that? So yeah, that wasn't a place that I would have ever felt comfortable dating anybody or getting into that, because I was trying to hold on to the little bit of peace that I had, because the school was not made for people who look like me and didn't really treat people who look like me too kindly. So yes, that was something that I did not like. But I would say that was part of my reasoning why I feel like initially when I started this journey, it was kind of easy because nobody was really checking for you. So it's not something that you're really thinking about. I wasn't thinking about being involved with like other boys or going out or trying to find a boyfriend, because one, people wasn't checking for me. And at that point, I'm just trying to keep my peace and make it through, you know, school with all these bad kids, that it just was never presented to me to even think about going that route. But I think that was kind of like my initial why growing up. One, people didn't really look my way. Nobody ever really showed interest. Two, I was a kind of like a goody two shoes. Like even if they did, I would be way too nervous or too scared to even go that route. And then I would say three, just it wasn't many opportunities to do that. Now in high school it kind of was, because although I couldn't stand the people at my school, my cousin, we're about the same age. So with her, it was like she couldn't go anywhere unless I went with her. Although we are in the same grade, I am slightly older than her just by like 3 months. But I guess they always thought that I was, I guess, a little bit more responsible. I really don't know. But it was just like a thing. She couldn't go unless I go for like the majority of the things. So I would go and kick it with her and her people, which was annoying, but I would do it. And they definitely walked on the wild side when it came to anything, drinking, smoking, you know, a lot of things. They had a lot of things going on. Now she wasn't necessarily always in the mix, but those are her friends, so she would be around it too. So, you know, sometimes an opportunity might present itself there, but I was very closed off and reserved to where it just wasn't really a thing. But I would say that partially I feel like, well, I really feel like my overall why as to why I decided to carry myself this way or take this path or go on this journey, I really don't know what people want to say, but I would say the overall reason why is just because I feel like I'm just wired this way, if that makes sense. I feel like it just feels right to me. It doesn't, it's just how I am. I really don't see the appeal in me personally, because you know some people feel in deck. I ain't talking about you, I'm talking about me. Kind of being with multiple people or giving my energy to multiple people. I like sleeping with multiple people. It just doesn't seem appealing to me. Partially because people got cooties. People got cooties and they willing to spread their cooties. And I'm not a health nut, but if I can avoid it, I would like to avoid it. But I feel like from what I've seen, some people just be kind of reckless, and that's a little off-putting to me. It's very scary, and that's part of the reason as well. As well as I just feel like it would be exhausting to just be with so many people or multiple people. I just don't personally have the energy. Like, I've seen people who can juggle multiple people that they're talking to or dating. They got the energy, they got the time, God bless them. But for me, I know that I couldn't keep up. I know that I wouldn't be able to hang. So I just don't see it being something that is suited for my lifestyle. I am very much a intentional kind of person. So for me, I just don't see how intentional I can be if I'm spread so thin. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know how to explain it. But you know, for the other people who do that, I'm not judging. God bless you. Do what you do. That is your business. I personally do not care. But I just can't do it. I can't hang. I just can't join the club. But that is kind of my reason why. I just really feel like I'm wired this way. I don't feel like it would change much. And as I've gotten older, my mindset towards it, or you know, the morals have just become stronger. Like it's harder to break me in that manner. Now, when I decided to do this, like when it like solidified for me, I would say is college. And now you hear stories about college, you really don't know what life is going to bring. But I think my personality is what really held it down for me throughout college. But that is kind of where I solidified my decision as to why I'm just gonna stay this course. So I went to a school in Baltimore, Maryland called Coppin State University. And although I've been seeing some little things about them, I personally can say that my experience there was not bad. It was an adjustment because it's in Maryland and I'm from California. So definitely a different vibe there altogether. But yeah, so I went out there. The school is about this big. So, you know, dating there, it's almost like you date somebody, everybody know your business. So it was never something that I was really comfortable doing anyway. But that is where I went to school. Now, I went to school with people who was also from California. Like, we knew each other briefly before we went over there. So we were like roommates and stuff. And they didn't really talk to too many people on campus either, because it's such a small campus. And really, it just was not giving, you know, what it needed to give in order for that to happen. So that is basically where it kind of started. And one of my suite mates, who was also from California, who went over there, she is a pastor's kid, okay, a PK. And her dad, I believe he gave all of his children purity rings, but I could be wrong. But he gave his daughters purity rings for sure. I know that for sure. It might have been all his kids, but I really don't know. But I know the girls have it for sure. So he has three daughters. And you know, that was something that was she was kind of raised around more, I would say. But we had a similar mindset as in what we wanted. I just never had a purity ring. I never thought to have one. Nobody ever gave me one. But while I was there, I thought that it would be good to get one as a reminder of what it is that I want for myself, or how I want to continue to carry myself. So I purchased myself a purity ring. But I would say she kind of sparked the interest, because if it wasn't for her having one, I probably wouldn't really thought about it. But I ended up purchasing myself a purity ring. And I would say college was also where I kind of like solidified the fact that I wanted to wait until marriage. Like, at first it was kind of like, well, you know, the right person. But I mean, your husband could be the right person, right? So I solidified the idea that I wanted to wait till marriage and before I engage in such things. So yeah, that was, sorry, I have these weird bangs and my hair just don't be cooperating. I be trying to let it do what it do, but it be doing too much. So yes, I went and bought myself a purity ring. This probably was like my sophomore year, because I think I purchased it yeah, I think it was my sophomore year. Now I thought that college would be full of like temptation, and it would just be like a thing of me having more of an opportunity to be tempted to do things that I hadn't done before. Like I was saying, there wasn't much temptation in college. In college, I was not, out of my friend group, I was not the person who would be approached. Like, it was like my other friends, they would be, you know, like everybody's person that they would people would pursue them more. Let's say that people would pursue them more, and that's okay with me because I am not an attention seeker. Not saying that they are, but I'm saying in the sense of it didn't bother me because I wasn't looking for people's attention anyway. I learned more so like when I was about to graduate that there were like more people who was kind of like secretly crushing on me, but like would never approach me. And I'm not mad at that at all because I don't feel like I wasn't, from what I've heard, I would have been interested in those people anyway. There was nothing from the 4 years that I was there was nothing that made me want to be like, I kind of wish they spoke to me. But the few people who did pursue, I would say by the time I made it to college, luckily I wasn't kind of mean in my response. When I was younger, if somebody liked me and I didn't like them, like I would say no, but it had a tendency of people would kind of keep like pushing themselves on me, like they're gonna question me down until I say yes, and that would make me just turn mean. Like I would just be mean to them, and we couldn't be cordial after that. Like I asked you plenty of times, like I've told you no, and you just keep like, I'm sorry, it's a no for me. So I would become a little bit more mean to the people that I didn't like. But college, I was nicer. I wasn't fully where I am now, but I would say like, no thank you, I'm okay, or you know, or people would try to like not get me alone, but try to not set me up. But there was a time, there was the first instance where I felt like, okay, I was kind of douchey, but not really. There was somebody who was interested, and my friends knew, but I didn't know, and they like allowed him to come to our suite. He wasn't in my personal space, he wasn't in my room. They were all there. It wasn't like they didn't like lock me in a closet with this guy, but they let him shoot his shot, knowing good and dang well I was not going for it. So it created an awkward interaction and exchange. I said no, but they kept trying, and it wasn't like a soft no, like, oh no, you know, maybe on a Tuesday. It was like, no, it was just a solid, stern no. And they kept trying, and it was just so annoying. I didn't like that, so maybe I had a little reputation for myself after that, but I did not like that. I won't go into like a story of what that is because it just, I don't know, you never know who comes across this. People be following me that I do not know how they find my channel. Family, friends, acquaintances. It's just like, how did you find me? It's not my name. Like, what is going on? I didn't have really much any temptation through college or anything like that. I was able to stay true to myself. But after college, it's still pretty much the same for me. Life after college is pretty much the same. I am probably more to myself. At least when I was in college, my friends, I would go out with like them, or sometimes be out and about with them, and they were a little bit more social, so I can meet people that way or like speak more. But I am quite a reserved person. I am a homebody. I do leave the house, but like it might be maybe if I go out to eat, or if it's like a family thing, I'm going to my cousin's house because there's a barbecue or people are coming here. But other than that, I really just go to the store and go to work. That's really the gist of what my life looks like. And I'm also not, I don't have a big presence on social media. I know that's a big way that people engage. I technically have an Instagram. I'm not be saying I don't, because I don't be on there, you know, I'm not usually forgetting about stuff. But it has 0 posts. It only has like 10 friends. Like it's not, and the friends are close friends and family, so it's not anything to put out there. And it's not hard to find. I mean, it's just my name. But yeah, I don't engage in social media, and I don't do online dating, so I'm pretty to myself, which is kind of how it's always been. As I'm getting older, I'm more open to the idea. It's just I don't know how that transition will look or when that will happen, but I am still, you know, the same old but yeah, so that's pretty much, I guess, my journey so far, like my experience throughout school and after school and up until now. I feel like I may continue to make videos kind of about my experience as a 28-year-old with zero firsthand experience, because I feel like there are quite a few people who may experience something similar. It's just not as talked about. Or if you do talk about it, people are always like, oh, well, you're lying. Lie for what? But okay. And if people are interested in knowing more, I feel like maybe I can make a more like in-depth, if people want to know like my college experience as a virgin or somebody who is committed to waiting till marriage, maybe that'll be something interesting. Or if you would like to know what terrifies me about the dating scene, I would be more than willing to make a video on that as well, because the list is a list. Okay, it's something about dating in today's society is quite off-putting. Okay, there are quite a few things that make me feel as though this is a little weird. But yeah, that's all that I have. I really don't know how else to discuss or what else to say about this, but yeah, that is all that I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and if there's any other videos, I guess, related to this topic that you would like to know, if I feel as though it is appropriate or I'm comfortable enough sharing, I will do so. If not, then I won't. So thank you for watching. That is all that I have.